What if I told you One Piece already showed us the most important character in the Final Saga years before we understood who he really was? A character with a backstory sadder than Robin's, a body stronger than Zoro's, a heart purer than Sanji's, and a devil fruit so broken it can repel pain, memories, people, and even fate itself. A character who saved the Straw Hats more than Shanks, more than Rayleigh, more than Mihawk. And yet, for most of One Piece, we were told he was a tyrant. That was a lie. Because Bartholomew Kuma is the kindest man Ichiro Oda has ever written. Bartholomew Kuma, former Warlord of the Sea, former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, founding member of the Revolutionary Army, father, slave, martyr. Kuma was never a monster. He was a shield. Kuma belongs to a race the world government fears more than pirates, the Buccaneers. A hybrid race, part giant, part human, connected to the Void Century, strong enough to rival monsters, small enough to blend in. That alone made Kuma illegal at birth. Kuma was born in the Sorbet Kingdom. At 4 years old, his family was captured, enslaved. His mother was beaten to death. Kuma begged for it to end, but his father gave him hope. The sun god Nika, the warrior of liberation, the god who frees slaves, the god who brings joy. As long as Kuma believed, he could survive, until the celestial dragons heard the story and executed his father right in front of him. That day, Nika died and lived on inside Kuma. 5 years later, God Valley, a hunting festival where celestial dragons murdered slaves for sport. Points, prizes, devil fruits. Kuma tried to escape. The slaves stopped him, because if Kuma was hunted, they might live. That's where Kuma met Ivankov and Ginny. Ivankov had a plan: steal the devil fruits, create chaos, escape. Ginny called the pirates. Rocks. Roger. God Valley exploded. Ivankov failed. Kuma didn't. The Nikyu no Mi, the Paw-Paw Fruit. A devil fruit that doesn't push objects, it repels concepts. Pain, fatigue, memories, emotions. Kuma used it instantly. He freed over 500 slaves, including himself. Ivankov named his hands the Hands of Liberation. Kuma returned to Sorbet. He became a priest. He healed the sick by taking their pain into himself. Every ache, every scream, every wound. Kuma carried it all. Ginny loved Kuma. She wanted to marry him. Kuma refused, not because he didn't love her, but because love had already been taken from him once. The king of Sorbet enslaved the poor. Kuma resisted. He was imprisoned. Then Dragon arrived. Liberation. Kuma joined the revolutionaries. Ginny was captured, forced to marry a world noble. She gave birth to Bonney and died. Kuma found her body and her child. Bonney became his world. Then she fell ill. Sapphire scales. A death sentence. Vegapunk could save her. Saturn intervened. Become a warlord. Become a weapon. Lose your humanity. Never see your daughter again. Kuma agreed. Kuma watched Luffy grow, saw the rubber body, saw Nika, and protected him. Thriller Bark. Zoro offered his life. Kuma tested their loyalty and let them live. At Sabaody, Luffy punched a celestial dragon. Kizaru arrived. Death was guaranteed. Then, Kuma arrived. Not as an enemy, as a guardian angel. He sent each Straw Hat exactly where they needed to grow. Before losing his mind, Kuma gave one final order. Protect the Thousand Sunny. For 2 years, alone. Kuma became a slave again, used as a mount by celestial dragons, until Sabo freed him. Egghead, Bonney, Luffy, Saturn. All together, Kuma climbed the Red Line, fought Akainu, and arrived. Kuma punched a god for his daughter, for Nika, for freedom. Bartholomew Kuma was never a tyrant. He was the North Star, guiding the world toward dawn. But Kuma's story doesn't end with Egghead, because Egghead was not the finale. It was the awakening. Let's talk about something people overlook. Kuma never fought for victory. He fought for time. Time for Luffy to grow. Time for Bonney to survive. Time for the world to change. Every single Kuma decision makes sense only when you view him as a delaying force, a man holding back the collapse of the world with his bare hands. Thriller Bark wasn't mercy. It was a test. Sabaody wasn't cruelty. It was preparation. Kuma didn't scatter the Straw Hats. He planted them. Each island was chosen with intent. Amazon Lily for Luffy, the land of warriors, the land of hockey, the land that would connect him to Rayleigh. Kuraigana for Zoro, the strongest swordsman, the harshest teacher, the only place Zoro could survive to surpass himself. Kamabaka for Sanji, a place of humiliation, of growth, of speed, of survival. Torino Kingdom for Chopper, science, medicine, knowledge. Weatheria for Nami, climate, navigation, control of the skies. Kuma didn't guess, he knew, because he had already walked those paths himself. And while the Straw Hats trained, Kuma stood alone. For 2 full years, no rest, no sleep, no freedom. Standing in front of the Sunny, enduring cannon fire, enduring pirates, enduring marines, enduring time itself. Not because he was ordered to, but because he promised. And that tells you everything about who Kuma really is. Now let's talk about something darker. Kuma's mind. Vegapunk erased his memories, but not his instincts, not his will. Because even as a machine, Kuma still moved, still protected, still chose. That means something terrifying. Love in One Piece is stronger than science, stronger than programming, stronger than control, stronger than gods. And that's why Saturn was afraid, not of Kuma's strength, but of his humanity. Because Kuma represents the one thing the world government cannot erase: inherited will. The Buccaneers weren't erased because they were strong. They were erased because they remembered. They remembered Nika. They remembered freedom. They remembered a world before chains. And Kuma remembered even after death. That punch on Egghead was not random. It was memory, pain. Every scream he ever absorbed returned in one moment. Saturn didn't get hit by Kuma. He got hit by history. By every slave who never fought back. By every child who never escaped. And that's why that punch mattered more than any attack in the series. Now look at Elbaf, the land of giants, a race tied to the Buccaneers. Kuma does not end in Egghead. He ends where giants walk. Because Elbaf is about legacy, about inherited will, about gods and those who carry them. Luffy is Nika, but Kuma is the one who kept Nika alive long enough to return. And that's why Kuma may not survive the Final Saga. Because bridges are meant to be crossed, but never stay. If Kuma dies, it will not be tragedy. It will be completion. Because his pain will finally end. Bartholomew Kuma was never meant to see the dawn. He was meant to carry the night, so others could live in the light. He was never a tyrant. He was never a weapon. He was never a slave. He was the man who carried One Piece.